Hello, sweetie. You shouldn't keep your colleague waiting.
A bespectacled man in an orange bomber jacket is tapping his foot on the floor. Looks like he's waiting for someone. You. As you approach, he narrows his eyes and extends his hand in greeting. On the sleeve of his bomber jacket, as well as on its back, are the same enigmatic white rectangles as on your blazer.
Hello, I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57.
You realize he's waiting for your name. Concentration makes you squint your eyes. Your name should be deep gold and orange, like a forest fire looming on the horizon, but mixed with the stench of liquor rising from your breath. You're 2 steps closer to it, but there are still many to go.
Okay then. It looks like we had a little scheduling error on Sunday. Saturday too, actually. Have you had time to talk to the manager? If you don't mind, we should talk to him again. Ask him for a rundown of the area. Now that I'm here as well. I understand the scene is out back, right? It also wouldn't hurt to assure him the police are finally here. In full force, I mean. Have you mapped out the initial interviews? At the 57th, we like to prepare an initial list of persons of interest, and then just skim the surface. Prepare the field, get to know the players. You don't do that? Maybe it's not an inter-district practice. Okay, we'll have time for... Have you removed the dead body from the tree? Mm-hmm. So, the body is...
This is the first...
Where it has been hanging for 7 days straight. We should go there as soon as we are done talking to the owner. We all feel that way sometimes. There is no such thing as a police officer, I'm afraid. What remains is that there is a dead body in the tree. Someone has to figure out who put it there. If we don't, no one else will. But first, we have to take it down. I was sent here to meet a detective from Precinct 41. You have the insignia of the Citizens Militia on your sleeve and on your back. I suppose you could be impersonating him. You could have gotten the insignia from the black market or forged it. But for now, I'm going to set those possibilities aside. I'm not from the Inspectorate General. Internal affairs. And I'm not them. I'm from criminal investigation. Yes. They are not just white rectangles. They bear a halogen watermark with the letters RCM and a pattern resembling the street grid of Revachol West. I would ask you to step into the headlights of my motor carriage, but again, it's none of my concern. I just need you to do your job. You mean you don't have a badge? Losing your identification card is a serious matter. My vehicle has a shortwave. You can use it to report your badge missing. I would advise you to locate it as quickly as possible. But getting the body down should still take precedence. I can see you drank last night and the night before, and that you are still drunk now. But I have seen officers go through worse. Much worse. If you need something for your headache, there is a general store nearby.
A painkiller would be good about now. This thing is pulsating with discomfort. The best cure for a headache is, of course, morphine. They won't have that, so cigarettes will have to do.
We all feel that way sometimes. There is no such thing as a police officer, I'm afraid. What remains is that there is a dead body in the tree. Someone has to figure out who put it there. If we don't, no one else will. But first, we have to take it down. After you, officer.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi is now in your path.
Hello, sweetie.
Wait, who's Sweetie?
Why, you are, officer. You're a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw and that silly dimple on your chin. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Whatever do you mean? Sequence killers?
A partner who needs you to help him get a corpse down from a tree. I can assure you with absolute certainty, there are no sequence killings taking place in Martinez.
Now, gentlemen, no need to squabble. I wouldn't be of much use to you anyway, sweetie. Thank you, but Martinez isn't the most wheelchair-accessible place. Perhaps another time. Yes, dear.
A paraplegic is someone with limited or no ability to use the lower half of their body. Paraplegia is caused by spinal cord injuries, like falling from a great height.
No, dear. I'm not quite that old, although I was injured in the line of duty. Nothing so glamorous, dear. Though when I was young, I dreamt of planting the Revacholian flag on some figurative peak. I was a training and development manager at a rapidly expanding mail-order shoe company. You'd think it would be a safe job, but I had to be everywhere, and, well, once I happened to be under some faulty scaffolding. I was lucky. This was almost 20 years ago, and I was compensated exceptionally well. One can only dream of such payoffs nowadays. That's quite all right. I'm used to people asking questions. I know they're thinking about it anyway. Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. Oh my. You know where we are, right? A seaside hostel called the Whirling in Rags, to be precise. And the Whirling itself is in Revachol. How would I even begin to tell you? Revachol is the most beautiful city in the world. We're fortunate to be here, you and I. I haven't seen very many other cities personally, but everyone says so. Revachol is a rare jewel. This city used to rule the world, though it has seen better days. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? There. The year is 51, and spring has only just started.
She looks flustered, her hands smoothing out the creases in her blanket, even as she attempts to reassure you. The lieutenant studies you, rubbing his chin. I'm beginning to suspect that you might indeed be completely adrift in this reality, thinks the lieutenant. How can it be that bad? Never mind. We're in this now.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Actually, we are not. You could say that about almost any other nation, but not Revachol. Try it one more time, officer. What mode of government? Oh, sweetie. It's really not. Revachol is a zone of control led by an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have almost no government of our own, and certainly no dictatorship of the proletariat.
But they still have cops.
Oh dear, this is troubling. You really ought to know that, being one yourself. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
You didn't do too well, dear. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things. History and places. Remembering reality, in a word. It's very odd.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his notebook.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are often temporary, so I wouldn't worry too much. A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new, something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. It has something to do with everything. I really don't know how to explain it better. Someone more educated in sweeping matters.
No. I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Of course, dear. Good luck with your case.
The man with the unimpressive beard.
Mr. Gart.
Yes?
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. This is an inter-district investigation, so joining me from Precinct 41...
Fantastic. That's wonderful.
Sir, I understand your concern, but we are here to do a job. And for us to do it,
Yes, of course.
I know it took us a while to arrive at the scene, but it also took you a while to call us. It was you who placed the call, correct?
No, I only just got here. It was probably Sylvie who called you. She usually works the bar here. I'm only temporarily taking over her duties.
Do you have her number?
As a matter of fact, I do.
This sounds like something you can use to call this Sylvie later.
You said you just got here. From where? Are you a local?
What, of Martinez? No, I live in Jamrock. I only sometimes come here to keep an eye on the place. This is just one of the many, many cafeterias I manage.
But you still know your way around, yes? In case we need directions.
Yes, I know where some things are, but as I said, I don't live here. I just used to work here. And I'm not going to start working here again, if that's what you think.
I didn't imply that. Detective, I have everything. You?
Yes, yes. He means, do you have questions for me, like a police officer would? I knew it.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real.
One moment you're running like the wind, then you've suddenly turned around and are giving him the finger, furiously, with both hands.
Watch out!
Everything goes
Back so soon.
Hello, sweet.
a respect as on the.
Hello.
You realize he's waiting for your concentration makes you squint your eyes.
Okay then. It looks like we had a little scheduling error on some. If you don't mind, it also wouldn't hurt to assure him the police. Right. And the right. And the interviews? Good. But have you removed the dead body from the Mm-hmm. So,
This is
where it has been hanging for 7... But first, I suppose you could be impersonating him. Yes. They're not... I would ask you to... You mean you don't have... Losing your identity? We all feel... But first, I can see... If you need...
a pain, the best cure for a headache.
Talk to... We all feel that way. But first, we have... After you.
Lieutenant Kits...
Hello, sweetie.
Wait, who's Sweetie?
Why, you are, officer. You're a handsome man. You must... I'm Lena.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Whatever do you mean? Secret?
A partner who'll need you to help him get... I can assure...
Now, gentlemen, no, thank you. Perhaps another time. Yes, officer. You look rather... Oh, my. You know where we are. A seaside hostel called the Whirling in Rags, to be precise. How would I haven't seen Speaking of history, you know what year it is. Yes? There.
She looks for the lieutenant. I'm beginning.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Oh, no. Nothing.
Of course, you've arrived at a weak world where no one appreciates animal husbandry.
Oh, dear. But we should...
She's scared now. She's
You did...
aside.
But maybe it has something to do with a defeat, I'm afraid. Of course, sweetie. I really don't... Someone more...
No.
Of course.
That's a good point. This...
Yes.
A paraplegic is someone with limited...
No, nothing. So I was a trainee. You'd think it would... I was lucky. That's quite all right. Of course.
The man with the...
Mr.
Yes?
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. This is an inter-district investigation. Right. Now, I know...
No, I only just got here. It was probably
Do you have her number?
As a matter of fact...
This sounds like...
You said you just got here.
What, of Martinez?
But you still know...
Yes,
I didn't imply that. Detective, I have everything.
Yes, he means, do you have questions? I knew it.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real. Oh, excuse me. You owe me 130 real.
The IIR, or Inter-Isolary Real, is the global reserve currency. Whatever part of the world you're in right now, it's safe to assume he means you owe him some money.
No, you don't owe me street cred. You owe me money. You owe this establishment 130 real. Let's see. 3 nights at a tariff of 20 real comes to 60 real. Then there's the window you annihilated. The hole in the window was the first thing I saw when I came to work. So don't try to tell me you didn't. That will be 40 real in damage. Another thing you've annihilated is half the bar. You've run a tab of 30 real. Actually, more, but we'll round it down to 30 for your hard work maintaining the stability and order of Revachol. That's 60 plus 40 plus 30 equals 130 real. And yes, real is still money. What are you, a philosopher? Money is what grown-up people use to pay for things. Things like this hostel room or 8 bottles of potent blend and 9 packs of Royal Extra. We use it for everything, really. Are you serious? From your work? I don't know. You can take bribes, I guess. I'm sorry. I don't think cops can take bribes.
Some do take recompense, but only to survive.
For survival, to pay me. Unless you want to become a hobo. Do you want to become a hobo? There's nowhere else to stay in Martinez, and it's a cold spring outside. Money doesn't make you happy, but it lets you be unhappy for a while longer. If you run out of money, you die. It's like that for all of us. Me too. That's why I need you to pay me. I'm not an asshole.
There's a shuffle of nylon as Lieutenant Kitsuragi looks for something in the pockets of his orange bomber.
I'm sorry, but he has to pay. I can't let him stay here any longer if he doesn't. If he doesn't...
Officer, maybe you are better off working this from home for now. You live in Jamrock, right? It's not that far away. Officer, you really need to take this up with your station. I have a shortwave radio in my car. Call them.
Good luck.
By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it. But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? Why did you say that?
No. But isn't that an expression, not a place? A saying. Up on Marvel Hill, a great high place. One of these...
That doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money. You can try. Run some addresses in your head when you get the time. A colorful piece of plastic is dangling from his carabiner. On the counter, rolled out of his open hand, you see a blister pack of headache medicine.
No idea. Looks like he works for Wild Pines. Possibly because there's a strike going on in the harbor. There's not much to do aside from drinking and sleeping.
The man does not mind. You probably need them.
You've just picked up some magnesium. This item is stored in the bottom left corner of the screen above your character portrait. Use magnesium to heal your morale if you have morale damage.
It's a dock worker's ID, doubling as a shift card and a job permit. A young, able-bodied man stares back at you from the photo. Santiago S. John. You gently shake his shoulder, but nothing happens. This man could probably sleep soundly in a ship's engine room.
the RCM in Martinez. What can I help you with? We don't see a lot of police around here, that's all. Of course. What can I help you with? Of course. Where to? Oh, that's...
She's relieved someone has come even all the way over here. There's a drop of death in the spring air.
What do you mean? Yes, sir. District of Martinez.
He knows where we are. He just wants directions.
There's the pier, the Cape Side apartment buildings, some more tenements. Not a lot, really. The harbor gates. Some kind of commotion, I think. I don't follow the local politics. Some shops and a bridge. The canal bridge leads to the coast, but it's broken, I think. Some kind of accident, probably. Just coast.
Rows of stalls under a broad roof, where silvery fish were heaped on newspapers. Water everywhere, pouring from the heavens in the shadow of the old.
I don't know. The abandoned kind? It used to gather every spring, but there's nothing to do there now. Just drug addicts. It's just water. No, actually, I think they call it the Martinez Inlet. There are some islands in the bay, but they're hard to reach. No problem.
She's very well composed, back straight.
Me? I am just a gardener.
She hides it well, but behind the sweat and dirt there is something else in her rigid posture.
Is there?
The quickness of the reply certainly does not prove you wrong.
I'm working. I have a greenhouse in the yard there. I've been trying to get some work done. Well, as you already know, there's a corpse there, hanging from a tree. It smells pretty...
Don't worry, miss. We are here to clean...
Thank you. My head is about to explode from all the salts I've had to inhale.
Salts? Ammonium salts? Perhaps useful for later.
Of course. I won't hold you back.
If there's a corpse, then you're going to need those gloves for the autopsy.
Sure. Keep them. I have another pair.
All around you, rain falls on the great city of Revachol. Rain drips from the eaves and floods the gutters, washing the filth away. The spring thaw must be here. The snow is melting. Looking up at the sky, cold water dripping from your hair. Grey sky like great battleships, clouds colliding with one another. Rain falls down on the world. Your shirt sticks to your chest. The shoulders of your disco blazer grow heavy. The cold finds its way in under your skin. You shiver, and the city shivers with you. You're not dressed for this weather. You should get an overcoat or a patrol cloak. Sheets of rain over the ruins of a half-sunken sea fort crumble on an inlet beyond the Bay of Revachol. Ghosts rise into the sky. Your hair is an oily mess flecked with ash from neighboring coal plants. Smokestacks rise somewhere in the distance. There's a frit on the corner. A plastic coat is folded into a small triangle under the counter by the window. Beyond that, the strikebreakers have gathered. The great gates of the industrial harbour are locked. A chill runs down your back. You shudder, looking down at your feet. Two green snakeskin shoes stand at attention on the mosaic paving of the plaza. Capeside apartments. Tower blocks crowd one another. 4.46mm bullets still lodged in their war-torn stone walls. Hallways collapse from the mortar hits of a war that was lost long ago. Clotheslines go to waste in the rain. Radios play. A yard. Rain falls onto the roof of a woodshed. Coal leaks into a puddle beneath a dead man's feet. He swings from a tree, bloated. Droplets of rain slip from his cold cheeks. A traffic jam. Rain thrumming on the roofs of motor vehicles. Inside, Drivers watch water streaming down their windshields. The statue of a king shudders. He too is cold. The canal bridge has been raised. The road ascends. A raised motorway loops above the ghetto. Beneath its concrete columns, a sea of rooftops, woodwork, and tar stretches northward. 4-story buildings as far as the rain can fall. The snows melt in Jamrock. Revachol is the capital of the world. Jamrock is the capital of Revachol. Droplets form on your eyelashes. It's home.
Have a brother in the cut. Where the wood at? Have a brother in the cut. Where the wood at?
On a street there that flows like a muddy river in the snow, with fire traps rising on either side. A film rental opens its doors to the rain. An armored motor carriage rushes past the corner, where you used to walk together. Suddenly, the hair on your back rises.
You cannot return.
To be in Martinaise, where no one goes, at the runoff point of a long-forgotten canal, in the whitest part of town. In the shadow of the day the revolution fell, standing in the rain, looking north, where Jamrock Rock City stretches in the rain-swept distance above the rooftops of Jamrock, a repurposed silk mill stands perched above the motorway exit. Precinct 41 hunches in the... It's the only home you have now, but you can't go back. Not like this. Your vision blurs. You wipe your face with your hand. The rain stings your eyes, making you look up and blink. Coalition aerostatics hang like apparitions under the cloud cover. Way up there, where rain forms, rotors flutter silently. Your sight clears. Collapsed storm drains, old sewage systems flooded with rainwater. Hidden weapon caches from the revolution. Doors leading down to Le Royaume. The catacombs to which, for 3 centuries, they delivered the blue-blooded dead.
This rain will not let up anytime soon. You should get a raincoat. There's a freight to the east. They sell them there.
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center.
Oh yeah, nappa gumpy, Kuno! Right in the dick, Kuno! Get him right in the dick!
It's love it in the dick.
The boy is sweating profusely. His eyes are like 2 black holes and his jaw is twitching as if trying to break free from the empire. The kid is obviously high.
Fuck that! Kuno, yeah!
Shits himself.
The rake, Kuno! You should throw the rake at him, Kuno!
The fuck? Does Kuno know what a rake is? Kuno's not a gardener. The fuck are you talking about?
He's calling us Kuno! He says we're fucking each other!
We shouldn't do anything. You will see.
Fuck no! Kuno doesn't doesn't buy that shit.
Fast. This kid has got street smarts.
All right, entertain the Kuno. Show me what you got. What you got there? What you got, huh? Show me what you got.
The kid moves his hands like a basketball player dribbling fast.
Kuno's Kuno, pig?
Kuno. Primal. Violent.
The fuck are you calling a third person? Kuno's the fucking first person?
Watch out, Kuno! He's trying to fiddle you! He's gonna put his hands on you! Help! Pig's got Kuno! Help! Rape!
Help! He's got the Kuno, help!
Everyone can hear. You need to get the hell out of here before.
Everybody!
Escalate, Kuno! It's Dick...
Pigs in here, Kuno! Somebody, please!
Thump. The blow connects surprisingly well, leaving your knuckles tingling. Kuno feels it. This was no light tap.
What?
Officer, this is very far from normal police
Okay, pig. Kuno knows to respect that violent shit. You should see Kuno's dad. Kuno's dad doesn't give a shit about anything.
The creature behind the fence has fallen ominously silent. Only her eyes are alive, jumping from actor to actor.
Okay, pig. Talk to Kuno. We're back in this shit. The fuck do you want?
He's on your crime scene, bossing you around. And he's been here for some time too. This is where he hangs out. You have to get more out of him. He could be useful.
Get your snout out of Kuno's ass. Kuno knows how hard Kuno pushes it. Kuno pushes it hard level. You should give up, Popo, or the Kun will keep fucking it out of you.
You okay, Kuno?
That went wrong. He took it as a compliment. Then he had a minor seizure.
Right, pig. This is where Kuno plays with his little wooden choo-choo. What do you want with it? Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Shitload, pig. What's your question?
Don't tell the pig shit!
This is where you quickly ask him questions. Real cop questions. Like a cop.
Kuno's fuck gimp. Kuno uses the fuck gimp for target practice.
He could have just said he doesn't know.
Yeah, it's fucking okay. Gotta have a gimp for rock practice.
Don't ask the pigs for permission, Kuno! Don't ask the pigs for shit!
Probably climbed. Kuno was busy down the road when that shit went down. You heard Kuno. Kuno wasn't even in Martinez. Kuno wasn't in Revachol. Kuno wasn't regional. I don't know. Some fucking... Mesk or I don't know. Some other place. Night City. Kuno was in fucking Night City. Kuno gives this info out on a need-to-know basis. And you don't need to know. Kuno didn't smoke the gimp, if that's what you meant. Just a couple of pigs sniffing around in the dirt. That seems pretty fucking suspicious to Kuno.
Yeah, you tell the faggoty, Kuno!
You're testing Kuno's...
Get lost,
You're dreaming, pig.
A little. But don't...
Don't let him dominate you, Kuno! Fuck his fat ass!
Yeah? Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. The fuck about it? You're
Get lost,
Kuno doesn't...
Kuno, Kuno, the pig's getting pretty close to me. Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno.
She means it. The fear is real.
I'm going away for a long...
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
I come from the woods, good Davidu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatizing her. Get the fuck out of here.
I'll die before I squeal, pig. You don't want to fuck...
You can still see the top of her hat. The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. The face around them does not look human. It's swollen and ready to burst. His lips are fish-like and his tongue like a ball gag in his mouth. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in, even through your clenched nostrils. The smell is repulsive. It pushes in from your mouth, more instant and more familiar than anything you'd expected. More fever. Too late. It's impossible until a pool of vomit lies under your feet. The smell of Commodore Red rises from the pool. Among it, distilled spirit and bits of shish kebab.
It's okay. Happens to everyone. Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head. That young woman, the gardener, mentioned she used salts for the smell. If she doesn't have any, there might be some in the fridge store nearby.
Acquiring ammonia will provide a modifier to the white check. Modifiers make checks easier and allow you to retry them.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
There he still is, looking right. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails. All over. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear?
Noted.
What do you think you are? A super detective? You're hungover. These are just dents in the mud. No pattern emerges for the time being.
It's raining again. It was clear just an hour ago. Sure, I'm done with them. Go easy on that stuff. It gave me a terrible headache.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, whirling in rags. Just a trash container. There is no such thing. Your fingers start to itch just looking at that padlock.
We could try using a pry bar. There's one in my motor carriage, or we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags. He probably has one.
Just a trash. Your fingers start to... That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? An hour would have been bad. 2 hours is mystical. You have truly wiped out all trace of yourself if you haven't thought about rum and lemonade yet. Forget about the bar. Or don't forget about it. You should toast. What happened, man? You used to be cool. It would go well with those cigarettes. That's...
Can I help you? Mine? No, it belongs to the Whirling in Rags.
Thank you for clearing that up. Why do you keep the container locked?
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out. That's why. And the neighbors, too. They put their trash there, and they don't pay for the garbage company.
I thought as much. And are you the only party with access to the trash container?
Well, yes. Us and the...
It seems a little callous, doesn't it? Something stirs in you. Prod at him and find out.
Callous? What are you, Krasmazov?
Krasmazov, nom de guerre, was an economist and a historical materialist. He was a leading figure on the Grad side of the Centennial Revolution, where he headed the 9-day government. Mazov is considered the father of scientific communism, Mazovian thought, or Mazovian. He killed himself.
What are we talking about? Was this not about the trash container? We should return to the case of your mistaken identity at...
What for? Mazov? Are you planning to nationalize my trash container?
It concerns the case. Please cooperate.
Just bring them back once you're done, please. What thing? Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest faction. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit. But they're good customers. They place big orders and always pay on time.
We should find out who this Lord faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info. We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later. Men get hungry, even striking men. If not today, then they'll be here tomorrow.
Yes, not the whole damn you.
We should find out. We don't. We have...
What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later. This trash container is with a well-oiled crack. The lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply... Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. just a feeling, a warning from some part of you. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk, an egg rest with one broken egg in it, some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers, as the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage. A rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar-marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too. A white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there?
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario.
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force. Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash. The lid was locked and his establishment had the key. It's...
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. It's just organic waste, cold and... What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork? It is. Look, the plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Officer, this is an official piece of paperwork. It probably contains notes on numerous ongoing investigations, and could even list undercover operatives, informants. I suggest integrating it into your style.
Easier said than done. How could this pathetic cabbage of copy paper and plastic ever become Diixgo?
It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are in...
You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron, only in its social sensibility.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate the...
The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we...
It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage? But it was in the trash. Why not just call it out? It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper. Desperately stick. It's a metaphor for you. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. If you want it to be kitchen tissue. It's not though. It's toilet paper. Still wet, the toilet paper, I mean kitchen tissue, sorry, peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off your finger and voila, the ledger now looks marginally better. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances.
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding information to RCM property. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue. Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen water.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn them.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty. What do you mean? Is that all? The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. Judging by the creases on your forehead and the lines on your cheeks, too much more. Going back years, decades even. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the Ukar Parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently. You like this grimy murdering. don't you? It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RC. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do, barely. But the lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. 2 fat, shiny pens hang from the binder. He is not really saying anything, just standing there.
Know that I give this to you with resentment.
The tasks you've completed flow out of the blue oblong pen in a brash freehand uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple. A language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Interview the cafeteria manager. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. You're a swashbuckler with that pen, Harry, and it feels good. Feels like completion. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields. These are quite sinister in tone. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. All in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs, color of the irises, predation marks, condition of sexual organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. Arson, petty theft, spouse. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little... It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly, and something small inside, light, made of paper or cardboard, or dried flowers perhaps. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli. There's pain in there, if you want some. Something rattles and something the plastic. There's pain with your hands. U4 sized pages hang from the clip, screwed to the top of the board. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellular, like the bits they put into public piss bowls, probably called Fermi Discrete, or Axle, or something. At some point in its journey, the ledger has seen the inside of a public toilet. Remember when I said the smell of the upstairs bathroom was so rank they should have sent a poet to describe it? Why, yes it is, among many other things. This cleaning tablet is used by the whirling in rags. Perhaps that's where the ledger was dropped in the toilet, by you. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned, like the slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, without resistance, or 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. 2 octopuses are smiling, reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the words just crossed your mind somehow. Who do you think? You. It's slightly. Your hand shakes. You're flushed with adrenaline. Without resistance or sound, thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers, floral patterns, patches of glue. It smells of chewing gum. A touch of cinnamon, the end of summer. You think the label says Tutti Frutti. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card. Looped, round letters in a woman's hand. A young woman in her 20s. There is care, effort, and a smile. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Maybe it will make you happy. Throw it away, please. Your hand shakes, holding the card. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, it says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest, down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Sparks fall from the bow collector. I know it will be like this until late afternoon, when I get off the 42 and walk back to you. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always, always, always come back to it. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what?
Detective, is everything all right?
There is nothing again. Well, almost nothing. There is the ground below. That's me. Blue eyes, that's me. Who was what?
He speaks of the sickening longing, the unwell emotion, even in the darkness, here in the paleomammal, because it's always there.
Tell him. Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the olfactory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one. It's unhealthy of them to linger on it so. But as they say, what do you do? It didn't smell nice. It smelled like betrayal.
Bloated corpse of the past resurfacing.
Beautiful. Believe me, stupid ape, its lack of beauty was not the problem.
There is no Voyager Road. There are no roads, no houses, no lights in the windows. It's all on. You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecules. No. Someone is breathing on your face now, inspecting your pupils, stupid idiot.
Yes, they're pouring.
It's delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the driver's basket, the air is thick with leather.
Drink. Water.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself, as it pours down your...
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form of hydration.
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat. The lieutenant pays no heed to it.
What happened? You were reading your paperwork. Then you passed out. I carried you to my kinema to take you to a hospital. Then you came to. 10 minutes, maybe. That does sometimes happen. You dropped these. Are you okay to proceed? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an interactable and a tool equipped in your held slot for skill bonuses. Find it under the Tools tab in your inventory.
It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urine. Without resistance or sound, you stare at the card, willing your hand to move. It refuses. It's too much, not a game. It's slightly, ever so slightly, difficult to breathe. Your hand shakes. You're flushed with adrenaline. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the Next World Mural. Why, yes, your precinct number is 41. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it. And these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. I got nothing here either. Logic really isn't the best faculty to have this conversation with. But it takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start? It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? AKA Leslie and Burke. AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. You were so drunk you didn't remember what it was when you signed on. That, or you were high. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which, in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression. You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition because that's where the action is. Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing? Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his... In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry. Kill them. They broke it. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore, can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes. True love is possible only in the next world. For new people. People call it. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the belles lettres have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the next world mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between two options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it. Insufferable dicks. Young people are the worst. So anyway, they were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it. Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up. And no, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Murder. Tum tum tum. At the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner JM, only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the... Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve. Was doing it solo. Said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister. Was on it for, like, a month. The captain got... Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder. No. He was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. Yeah, so anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there, only client that day. In perfect health, too. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin. Movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was Murder at the Hookah Parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sat. It takes about half an hour to piece one together. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. Diixgo Elysium. Bad news. Diixgo Elysium did not become a cop. In 38, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite, amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning.
Does Kuno care?
What's going on? Is an ungovernable youth on your crime scene?
Trying to fuck at the Kuno! Trying to fuck at me! Trying to fuck! Kuno only gets higher! It's faster, faster!
Kuno gonna fuck you!
Normal is not what we got here. You've got...
Yeah, like a fucking volcano.
You're lucky you didn't die there!
Wish Kuno could. That shit was vile. Kuno doesn't...
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to the ammonia. The second time, not so much. When the vomiting is done, your cheeks are wet with tears.
Are you okay, officer? You're facing tough odds here. It's aggravated further by alcohol withdrawal. I've seen captains puke their guts out. It never gets, then drive to the station. I think I've lost my sense of smell. Not being hungover helps too. Okay, you've said it. You needed to say it. And now that you have, you need to get your shit together. We should go talk to the locals. Find something else to do.
You've gained a thought. When...
Give it half an hour. Get yourself together. Then come back and have another go.